If you've been wanting a career change and you've really been feeling like there's something more out there for you, but maybe you're not quite sure what it is yet, you can feel there's a change, then July is going to be a month for that. So I'm Whitney McNeill. I'm a certified medium, and I want to share some of the messages that Spirit has talked about with July energy. So when I tune into July, I see a lot of reflection, a lot of realignment, a lot of repurposing, and I feel like we're being redirected on our paths, and it may not be what we thought, and it may not be what we actually consciously even that we wanted, but it is what you need. So I want you to hear that again. It might not be what we thought we wanted, but it is what you need. And when it comes to career, or I can also talk about purpose, because sometimes career just isn't the right word for it. It's about where are we spending most of our time? Where do we want to really help other people? Where do we feel like the gifts that we incarnated with are best utilized for the most positive benefit to everyone, including ourselves? That's what I mean by purpose. You might have thought 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was going to be something else. And maybe you've worked towards that, but now you're coming up against this place where you feel resistance or you're feeling like your energy just isn't quite there yet anymore. It just feels like it's taking energy. There's a couple things that you can do. One, take some time for yourself and make you number one. So, really make sure that you're prioritizing your health and your energy because it could just be an energetic misalignment within yourself. That's always the first thing that I will tell people to do. But the next thing, if you're like, I got that all, I'm doing it, I'm good, then it's okay. Where can I realign my energy to do more things that I feel are giving me more energy versus taking more energy? And that's going to be looking at life in general. So we really want to be spending 80% of our day doing things that light us up, that fuel our energy, and the other 20% not. So, of course, our goal is to do that 100% of the time, but we have to do things sometimes that we just don't love doing. So, really start to think, where in my life can I shift some things? Can I change some things? And then three, give yourself permission to make the change and release yourself of old expectations and old goals, old dreams, and it's okay to let that go. Sometimes we might feel like, oh, I failed at something. I had this goal, I had this dream, and it just didn't get to where I wanted it to be. Or maybe you stop being passionate about it. Give yourself permission to release that you don't have to be perfect and that it's okay, that that's not a failure. And in fact, you realizing that your energy is now aligning to something new, aligning to something different, it's okay to let that go. Oftentimes, we don't get the next steps coming forwards in our lives until we release the past. And so, if you've been struggling because you feel like, I don't know what my next step is, it can be because you need to release the old. So find out in your life, where are you struggling to release? And sometimes it's situations that you don't think that they have a connection, but they really do have a connection. So dig around in old patterns, old thoughts, old wounds that you think you've healed, but maybe you haven't, and let yourself release. So I did want to share some cards with you and what I got from Spirit. So this is from my Messenger of Spirit Oracle deck. And the first card I got was the Abundance card. And I love this card. This is saying the universe wants to give all the good things to you. Will you let the universe do that? And this is, you are such a generous person and you've been giving and sharing. And the more that you do that, you also give back to yourself. But also, have you really been consciously giving to yourself? That's a question that you need to ask. So the more that you give out into the universe, at some point, the universe is this giving and re-giving wonderful energy. And when you are giving, sometimes you get stuck in this place of giving and you forget to receive. So, where in your life have you not been allowing yourself to fully receive and do that? But this is a really positive card. Now, the other card that I got here, I actually have several other cards. This is the career card. It's time to pivot, align your career with your purpose. So, we talked a little bit about that. Where do you feel that your career can shift? And you could just take this and replace it with purpose if you don't feel like you're aligned with the word career. And if you're not working still, your purpose, where do you want to spend most of your time? And there's something about it that needs to pivot and shift. What was working for you 5 years ago is not working for you anymore. And it doesn't have to look like a really big job change. It doesn't have to look like a title change. It can, but what about how you're doing things needs to shift? So that's something for you to go, oh, all right, let me talk to myself and do some reflection on what that means for me. I also got, you're building a firm foundation, pay attention to the details. So this really goes with what we've been talking about. When you are looking at making a pivot, it's time to make a shift. It's time to make a change. But what foundation are you laying? Are you putting in the good groundwork? And part of that is, are you putting yourself first? Are you treating yourself with enough respect and energy? Are you making sure that your energy is balanced before you then help other people? And start to look at, what are you wanting to build now? So that card comes with a number one, so it's new cycles. So there's something new that's kind of bubbling up in the energy, and what are you ready to commit to? And it can just be a small step. It doesn't have to be a huge process or project for you to just upend your life. This is more, what next step can I take right now to lay some groundwork? And if it is changing a career, it can be, all right, I'm going to start looking into my community or looking online about some ideas that I have. Maybe you want to study something new. And so your next step could be, I'm going to be looking at some classes that I can take. But this is about really paying attention to the details to make sure it's a solid firm foundation and that you're laying good groundwork. And then this last card is the joy guide, the joy card. So if you're really stuck and you're like, I don't even know what my joy is anymore, what I'd like for you to do is to call on your spirit guide, specifically a joy guide, and ask for a joy guide to help inspire more joy, to help you find people, to be led to situations and to opportunities that can bring more joy in your life. And so this is the time of reflection, because July has this energy where it feels like it's time to shift, it's time to change. But in order to change, we need to make sure we're moving forward in a direction that is now aligned for us. Because if you're trying to move forward without clear alignment, that is going to feel more like chaos. And so you've got to do this reflection for you so that you know your next step. And it can just be a baby step, but you're starting to not make change for change's sake, but making change because your heart, your energy, your purpose is all in alignment. Now, if you would love a personalized message for July or for the remainder of 2026, I'm going to put a link below where you can get a personalized forecast from me about July, or you can choose the option for a month by month for the rest of the year. I wish you the best energy, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments.